Chapter 3 Forced Along the Path of Heaven. The air was still and stagnant. Winds blew, carrying naught but the ashes of the destroyed land. Tom walked forward in this desolate wasteland, only seeing ruined buildings and the skeletal corpses of humans and other creatures alike. Tom had found himself in an utterly ruined world. But why? He heard yelling from another direction. As he turned, he saw legions of riders and ponies and many other creatures rushing at him. Tom tried to transform, but before he could, a wave of blackened energy shot from behind him, causing all those charging warriors to disintegrate into dust.
"Do you understand, boy?"
A deep, evil-sounding voice resonated from behind him.
"The power that lies within the watch?"
He turned to face the source of the voice. It was a gigantic humanoid figure, its features wreathed in black and hard to ascertain. But two things were certain: its glowing golden aura that generated an incomprehensible amount of power, and the glowing red characters that stood where its eyes were, the same characters that Zio had on his mask. Tom was utterly paralyzed as the figure walked towards him.
"You are the bearer of this power. If you were to make it your own, nothing could hurt you. Nothing could stop you. Nothing could stand before you. The very fabric of reality would be at your fingertips, and you would be able to rule everything utterly."
The evil figure proclaimed. I don't want that," Tom stammered. That's not what my powers are for." The evil figure scoffed.
"Yes, the Kamen Riders and their ideals. But you could easily create a world that conforms to your ideals instead."
Tom still adamantly refused, shaking his head rapidly. No!
"But if you still insist on denying your fate..."
The figure reached out with a gigantic hand. Tom couldn't move or speak. The evil being's hand drew closer.
"Begone, you foul specter!"
A loud female voice came from behind them and shot a beam of silvery energy at the evil shadow, obliterating both it and the desolation. Tom found himself standing in a void of stars. "Such a horrendous nightmare," the voice commented. As Tom turned, he saw a dark blue mare, bearing both wings and horn, much like Twilight. Her hair seemed to shimmer and wave, looking like an aurora. She was in a black dress with silver regalia adorning it, and a silver crown atop her head. "We assume you are the human that has recently taken up residence in Ponyville?" the mare asked. Tom just nodded, still awestruck. "We are most surprised that a human has appeared here, let alone one with abilities such as yours," the mysterious mare continued. "But the whims of this world elude even us." I'm sorry if this seems out of line, but who are you exactly?" Tom asked. Luna realized her mistake. "Oh, of course. Please forgive our rudeness." She cleared her throat.
"We are Princess Luna, ruler of the night and guardian of dreams,"
she yelled with an incredible volume that could probably peel wallpaper. Tom was blown back by the burst of sound, tumbling for a bit before landing flat on his face. "This is going to be a trend, isn't it?" Tom thought to himself as he stood back up. "Our apologies, young one. We are trying to break this habit," Princess Luna explained. "Oh, don't worry about it. Not the worst thing I've been through," Tom replied, still a bit dizzy. Luna looked at him, concerned. "'Tis odd that you would feel anything from that. This is a dream, after all," Luna noted. "A dream? You mean I'm asleep?" Tom asked. "We sensed the nightmare that was plaguing you, and we deemed it necessary to intervene," she replied. "But 'twas fortuitous timing, for we have been wanting to meet you after the reports about you to our sister came to our attention." "Reports?" Tom inquired. "Someone's been reporting to you about me?" "Thou'st are an extraterrestrial visitor, after all," Luna explained. Tom just rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Fair enough. However, thou hast done well in protecting our subjects from those bizarre monsters, and for that you have our gratitude. Luna gave a small bow. It's no problem at all. It's a Kamen Rider's duty, after all, Tom explained. Luna raised an eyebrow. Kamen Rider? Kamen Rider, Tom emphasized, the words appearing behind him. We are heroes who fight for the safety and happiness of all, he proudly exclaimed as fireworks went off behind him. Luna was bemused, but then she started laughing. A lineage of heroes? This sounds like a grand tale from a whimsical fantasy, she laughed. Tom laughed too. Twilight Sparkle said the same thing, but we're 100% real, I assure you. After they both got the laughs out of their systems, Luna smiled at Tom. We can tell you are a kind soul, young one. We will meet in person soon, Luna explained. But right now, it seems you are waking up. We bid you farewell, for now. Tom groaned as he roused himself from his slumber. His body ached all over. Oh, I feel like I got hit by the den liner. He tried to stand up, but felt incredible heaviness and pain. He inhaled sharply as his body seemed to resist his intentions. Well, good morning. Tom turned to see Twilight standing in the doorway. She was standing there with her arms crossed and a disapproving look on her face. Ugh, the kinds of knocks I get in the line of duty, Tom groaned. Seriously, Tom, why didn't you say something? Twilight yelled. Look at you! You can barely even get out of bed! It's no big deal. Kamen Riders have been through worse, Tom replied. But that doesn't mean you have to, Twilight replied sharply. She then took a few deep breaths to regain her composure. Twilight? Tom couldn't find a response to that. He hadn't had anyone fret over his health for a very long time. I'm sorry for snapping at you, Twilight sobbed as tears formed. I'm scared. My friends keep getting hurt lately and either turning into monsters or fighting against monsters, even after the things me, Spike, and the girls have been through. It's too much. Just then, Twilight felt Tom embrace her. It's okay, Twilight. I know you're scared. So am I, but we'll make sure everyone's okay. I swear it as a Kamen Rider, Tom reassured her. And, yeah, maintaining that position's not a good idea right now. Tom released the hug, but then fell backwards. On a related note, I don't think I'll be able to walk anywhere today. Oh. Spike, do we still have that wheelchair? Twilight called to her assistant. In a few moments, the young dragon came in, pushing a wheelchair that looked like it had only recently been unearthed from the storage. Your royal carriage, sir, Twilight joked, putting on a false-sounding accent that sounded like an exaggerated version of Rarity's. Spike helped Tom over to the chair. Easy there, buddy, the young dragon replied as he grasped the chair. All right, let's go. Go where? Tom asked. You need to see some sort of medical help, so we're taking you to someone who can help, Twilight explained. But would pony doctors be able to help me? I'm a human after all, Tom pondered. No, it's my friend Fluttershy. She knows how to take care of all sorts of different species, Twilight replied as she led Spike and Tom out the door. Wait, are you taking me to a vet? Fluttershy had just started her rounds with her animal friends for the day. She was reeling, though, as she had a nightmare. No, Discord wouldn't do that kind of thing anymore. It was just a bad dream, she reminded herself as she went to feed the chickens she kept. At the same time, Angel, Fluttershy's spoiled pet rabbit, was teasing the chickens and attempting to rile them up. Angel, behave yourself, Fluttershy scolded. But the bunny didn't buckle and started kicking the coop. The chickens began to panic. I said, knock it off! Fluttershy yelled, her voice affected in a strange way. Almost as if on demand, a series of small beetles appeared behind her and latched onto the chickens. The chickens all turned to the bratty bunny, a look of anger in their eyes. Angel just gulped and hopped away as fast as his little budding legs would allow, but somehow the chickens managed to surround him faster than he even realized. As he was surrounded, panicking at the pecking-based punishment that he had incurred, he also noticed Fluttershy standing above them all, utilizing her stare. What most ponies didn't realize about this ability of Fluttershy's is that it wasn't just the gaze that stopped things in their tracks. It also projected a sort of subliminal messaging that induced a sort of reaction one might have if they visibly disappointed their mother. However, this stare's potency was amplified by an unusually high amount, causing Angel and the chickens to fall over and start crying profusely. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Fluttershy went to scoop up Angel for a hug, but he just backed away. Fluttershy felt heartbroken. I'm so sorry, Angel. Everyone. She sobbed a bit as she went back inside, corralling all her animals with her. She didn't notice that the strange beetles that had latched onto the chickens were now making their way towards Ponyville, rapidly multiplying in number. Spike was currently pushing a wheelchair-bound Tom through the center of Ponyville, Twilight leading them. Usually Tom's presence would be met with some apprehension or scorn from some, but after seeing him bandaged and injured after he had saved their lives, they felt concern and shame. All except for one particular mare, that is, a certain spoiled rich. She was known around town as an influential figure, albeit one who only became so by exploiting her husband's fortune, but recent events with her daughter at the local schoolhouse had caused public opinion of her to sour. As such, she gained a new reputation as an entitled, selfish shrew. Willing to take her frustration out on anything and everything she didn't like, she haughtily marched towards the group. Well, Twilight Sparkle, I see you're taking your monkey to the vet. Going to get it fixed? She taunted. Excuse me? Twilight asked, anger rising in her voice. No, I don't think there really is any excuse for you, Spoiled retorted arrogantly. Twilight's eyes grew angrier. I mean, really, as if it wasn't bad enough that you had that scaly little urchin running around with you. Now there's a filthy monkey living in that castle of yours, Spoiled taunted. What dirty animal is next? I've heard enough out of you, lady. Tom tried to stand up, but Spoiled shoved him back into the chair. Don't you dare talk to me, you damned ape! The arrogant mare snapped, but then a pair of mares came from behind them. One of them was Lyra, who helped Tom sit down properly, and the other was a cream-colored mare he recognized from his introduction about a week or so ago. Watch it, Rich, the cream mare commanded. This human is under the protection of the princesses, and you will not attack him under any circumstances. Spoiled's face contorted into a scowl. I should have known the monkey would make friends with a pair of sexual deviants, too. At that, something in Bonbon snapped. What did you just say? She growled, but then another mare came and patted her on the back. Easy there, Miss Drops. The Ponyville PD will take it from here. It was Officer Wright's, as she produced a pair of handcuffs. Spoiled Rich, you're under arrest for harassment, defamation, and assault on a diplomatic figure. She turned Spoiled around and cuffed her. You have the right to an attorney? She trailed on, forcibly marching the now furious mare forward as her insults devolved into an incoherent stream of hateful noise. Yeesh, even in this world there's no escape from an Uber Karen, Tom muttered. An Uber what? Spike asked. Never mind. It's a human thing, he quickly backpedaled. Bonbon was still seething with rage until Lyra walked over and hugged her. It's okay. The nasty bigot lady is gone now, she said soothingly, patting Bonbon on the back. Bonbon started to work her way back down from her rage to a state of lucidity. Tom just looked on, dumbfounded. Note to self, do not piss off, I think they said her name was Bonbon, he thought to himself. Then Bonbon walked towards Tom. Tom, right? Listen, I'm really sorry, Bonbon apologized. Tom looked confused. What was she apologizing for? Oh, right, I should introduce myself properly, Bonbon realized. My name is Sweetie Drops, but everyone calls me Bonbon. This troublemaker over here, she said, pointing her thumb at Lyra, is my mare friend, Lyra. She's been obsessed with the idea of humans since she was a filly, so she's really overexcited about you. Tom just shrugged. Don't worry about it, Miss Bonbon. If I'm being totally honest, the last tackle dive she did actually saved me, he explained with a gentle smile. Please, just call me Bonbon. Anything else makes me feel old, she joked. But I'm also the Crown's representative for Ponyville law enforcement. Twilight raised an eyebrow. I thought you ran a candy store, she asked. I can do both, she huffed. Tom was confused, though. Humans existed here? He asked, At the mention, Lyra suddenly interrupted them. Oh yes, there have been many, many legends about humans appearing multiple times throughout Equus' history. All sorts of tales from the savior of Dream Valley, or the hero of Tambalon, or even the Stag Knight of Smiles. Many of our country's own culture and innovations were even aided by humans, Lyra rambled, though no one really knows for sure. So, humans have been here before. But were they native to this world? Tom pondered to himself. But his reverie was cut short by a shout of, "Hi, Tommy!" from behind him. Yeah! Tom jolted, the resulting action making him fall out of the wheelchair and straight onto his face. Tom lifted his face back out of the dirt, spitting a bit and shaking his head to clear away some of the dirt. He looked up to see a familiar pink pony with an incredibly puffy mane staring at him with a big grin on her face. Pinkie Pie, right? Tom asked. Pinkie just gasped. You remembered! Aw, that's so sweet! She cheered, picking Tom up and grasping him into a bear hug. Tom wheezed and squirmed. Pinkie, let go of him! He's injured! Twilight cried out. Pinkie noticed the myriad of bandages Tom had on and instantly released him. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry! She squeaked, her hair starting to lose some of its curliness. Don't worry, Pinkie. I'm glad you're okay after all that. Tom wheezed as he slowly got back into the wheelchair. Those are some big bumps and bruises, huh? Pinkie commented. Well, I'm going to make them all up to you. I Pinkie promise that I will throw you the biggest, bestest, most epic Pinkie party ever. Huh? Tom looked confused. Twilight knelt next to him. Pinkie likes to throw parties for everyone, she whispered. Tom just nodded in understanding. Pinkie, you're going to throw him a party? Let us help. Lyra requested, pulling Bonbon closer to her. Bonbon's expression changed to one of alarm. Sure, the more the merrier, Pinkie replied as the three of them left to plan the party. See you later, Tom, Lyra announced as she dragged her poor mare friend reluctantly along with her. Twilight and Spike just stared, Spike scratching his head. Even after all this time, I'll still never understand her, Twilight commented. Spike was about to reply, but suddenly felt a biting sensation on his arm. Yow! Spike yelped. Ugh, stupid bug bit me. He sighed and grabbed the handles on the wheelchair, pushing it. To Spike, he was pushing it at a leisurely speed. To everyone else, however, Spike, slow down! Twilight called after him, but he was rocketing forward at an incredible speed. Tom held onto the chair for dear life. G-force in my face! Meanwhile, back at Fluttershy's cottage, the animals were unusually anxious. Not only were mysterious bugs flying around, but their caretaker was acting incredibly unusual. As she was feeding all her animals, she was more forceful and insistent that they ate what she provided. Angel, you will eat what I've made, the Pegasus scolded with an uncharacteristic harshness. Angel looked at Fluttershy with a bit of trepidation. Now, she repeated, the rabbit relenting and eating as fast as he could to not incur her wrath. She scanned around the room to see all her animals obediently eating. Good. I provided you with the greatest food I made, so I expect you to eat it, she dictated. She then hovered up the stairs to her room and stood in front of a full-body mirror. I feel like I should wear something a bit different today. She started going through her clothes. No. These won't show everyone enough of my charm. I need something more striking. Fluttershy muttered to herself, and then found a cheongsam dress that she had received as a gift some time ago. This is perfect, she cheered as she began to get changed. Spike had stopped in front of Fluttershy's house, still carting the human in a wheelchair. He had gone slowly and steadily, he thought, but Tom's expression told a different story. Hey, are you all right? The dragon asked. Well, I'm not afraid of roller coasters anymore, Tom stammered. Spike scratched his head. What just happened? But then the door to the cottage opened, and out stepped Fluttershy, wearing a very, very form-fitting dress. It looked like something he had seen in a kung fu movie. Oh, hey, Fluttershy. Spike started, but Fluttershy held up a finger to him. Shh, she silenced the dragon. Grandmama once said this. I am the Pegasus who flutters along the path of heaven, she stated. That sounds like what Kamen Rider Kabuto said all the time in his story. Tom's eyes suddenly widened at that point, and he called Spike over. Spike, I've heard those words before. I think she's under the influence of another watch. Go get Twilight, quick, he whispered. Without missing a beat, Spike nodded. I'm going to go gather the others, Fluttershy. I'll be back soon. The dragon scurried back into town. Tom sighed. All right, then, but was cut off by the Pegasus hovering over him. Well, aren't you a cute one? But you've taken some nasty spills. Oh, poor baby. Well, Mama will make you all better, she said, a seductive tone in her voice. She grabbed the human out of the chair and dragged him into the cottage. I need an adult, Tom cried out. I am an adult, Fluttershy sang back. Meanwhile, Pinky and her two semi-willing assistants, Lyra and Bonbon, were busy setting up colorful decorations and a bevy of baked goods for the party Pinky planned for Tom. But as she was humming and pulling fresh cupcakes from the oven, she felt a strange yet familiar sensation. Pinky senses tingling. She felt the strange sense surging through her. It brought a message of danger. As if from nowhere, she understood what the message was. Lyra, Bonbon, I'll be back in a little while. Something's come up, she said, running out the door. Pinky, wait! Lyra called after her, but the pink pony was already too far away. And everyone thinks I'm the crazy one, she lamented, but Bonbon didn't respond. Bonnie? Lyra asked. Lyra, we need to move, now, Bonbon stated with an incredibly serious tone. Lyra had seen this before. Her mare friend got incredibly serious when there was a dangerous situation happening. You think? The mint unicorn asked. We need to investigate. Come on, Bonbon commanded, as the two of them ran in pursuit of Pinky. Tom was currently seated on a small sofa in Fluttershy's house. It looked a bit different than he was expecting. All the animals that lived here seemed to be moving in uncanny lockstep, constructing what appeared to be small altars. Are these animals running a cult? He thought to himself. One of the animals, a very terrified-looking white rabbit, hopped over with a flask of some sort of pink liquid on a pillow. Fluttershy took the flask, and the rabbit bowed as it hopped away. This here is a Pharasian super-potent healing potion. Once you drink it, all of your injuries and fatigue should clear up, Fluttershy explained. But I think you should ask for it nicely, like a good boy. What is she talking about? Tom thought. Fluttershy then walked over and straddled him. Come on, say, please, mistress. Give this blessing onto your poor servant, she commanded. Tom blanched. Oh, dear fruit Jesus, please, no. Ara. Looks like we might have a misbehaving boy here. I might have to spank you, the Pegasus continued, but there was a knock at the door. Ugh, at all the times. Don't go away, little boy, Fluttershy sang as she flew to the door. A few moments after she flew away, Pinkie Pie dropped from the ceiling in full ninja garb. Tom started, but Pinkie covered his mouth. Shh, I'm here to get you out of here, Pinkie whispered. Is that the healing potion? She gestured toward the pink flask. Tom just nodded. All right, open wide, Pinkie said, Tom looking kind of confused as she opened the bottle and jammed it into Tom's mouth, making the contents go down his throat. After all of it had been consumed, Tom got back up, coughing and sputtering. Gross. But it looks like it worked, Tom noted. He no longer felt any aches or pains, and he could move freely. All right, now we need to deal with... Oh! Fluttershy growled. She was staring right at the two. I can't keep my eyes off of any of you for 1 second. If it isn't Lyra and Bonbon trying to waste my time, it's Pinkie trying to steal my patience. She lunged at the two, but they ducked in different directions and started running. No, you're going to worship me, she raged. Tom and Pinkie met up with Lyra and Bonbon back in Ponyville, nearby the clock tower. You're okay, Lyra cheered as she was about to tackle him again, but Bonbon held her back. He's only just been healed. You want to put him back in the wheelchair again? Bonbon snarked. Lyra just pouted. Can't we talk about this later? Tom shouted. We've got a pissed-off possessed Pegasus on our tails. Wait, You do have a tail? Pinky asked, but Tom didn't reply, instead grabbing her wrist and dragging her behind him. Just then, a large swarm of beetles started gathering in the air. In the center of it was Fluttershy. I will be loved and worshipped by all, she pronounced, her voice becoming incredibly distorted. The beetles then started to converge on her, and she started spasming in pain as the insects melded into an armor. Kabuto. No, a monster that ripped off Kabuto's powers, Tom noted, summoning his driver and inserting his watch into the appropriate slot. Henshin!
Rider time!
And with that, Zio was back in action. The beetle-esque monster landed on the ground, then before anyone could react, rushed up to Pinky at an unfathomable speed and prepared to strike. She winced, but felt no pain, for Zio managed to block the beast's attack. The monster reeled and snarled, as it seemed to retreat into the nearby clock tower. It ran away? Lyra asked. Bonbon shook her head. I have a bad feeling about this, she explained. Just after, a large swarm of the odd beetles started spewing from the clock tower. They began latching onto moving things and causing them to either speed up or slow down drastically. Sped up Pegasi began crashing into buildings and ending up in front of the spells of slowed unicorns. Oh no, Ponyville! Lyra panicked. Pinky, Lyra, Bonbon, go sort things out in town. I'll take that monster on, Zio commanded. But what about you? Lyra asked with concern. Defeating evil monsters and protecting others is a Kamen Rider's duty. And I intend to follow through, he proclaimed, as he ran into the clock tower, brandishing his blade. Tommy, wait! Pinky ran after him. Lyra was about to go too, but Bonbon stopped her. Bonnie, those two are in danger, she complained. But there's a lot of other ponies in danger too right now. I think we should trust in our human friend to do what needs to be done, Bonbon spoke. And we need to do what we can. Zio continued ascending the tower stairs, striking down any of the bizarre insects that got in his way. Swarms of them kept diving at him, but he'd alternate between his gun and sword to take out as many of them as he could. After climbing to the near top of the tower, he found the monster, oddly just sitting there. Zio couldn't find any words to say at that point. He just stood in front of the beast, keeping his weapon tightly clutched.
Path of Heaven,
the monster growled. What? Zio asked.
Goodbye,
the monster replied, as it held up its hand and gathered a large swarm of beetles into itself. It stood up and let out a roar as the beetles began to swarm all over the tower. The floor underneath Zio and the monster began to shake, and then it gave way. Many of the gears and machinery also started falling, but for some reason they stopped in midair. The beetles, they're like miniature Zectors, Zio realized, but before he could react, the monster was right in front of him and punched him in the gut. The rider grunted and staggered, but managed to regain his footing and readied his sword. Ha! Zio shouted as he swung his sword overhead, but the monster just moved behind him and kicked him down to a lower bit of frozen debris. He landed harshly on his back. That's Kabuto's speed, all right, Zio commented. The monster leapt down onto the same platform as the rider, but without even meaning to, Zio moved his arm up, which accidentally made the monster trip over it and go careening into one of the tower walls. So that's what happens when you trip on something in Clock Up, Zio noted. Wait, tripped. That might be the answer. He cheered as he reached for the watch holster on his arm. But he didn't see the watch he needed. Of course I forgot the Kiva watch back at Twilight's place, he sighed. Pinky had been hiding behind a pillar on the ground floor, watching all of this take place. Kiva watch? If Tommy needs to beat that thing and save Fluttershy, then I know what I have to do. She bolted out of the tower door towards town, hoping she would make it in time. In Ponyville, many of the residents were panicking, trying to take cover or shoo away the swarms of beetles that were currently either destroying buildings or latching onto ponies and causing them to either speed up or slow down uncontrollably. Several unicorns had attempted to erect barriers around themselves and their loved ones, and Pegasi were attempting to use weather clouds to fend off the insects. And of course, there was the local overpowered alicorn princess using her magic to fry the bugs. However, even overpowered alicorns have their limits, and Twilight was running on fumes. Gonna be feeling magic exertion headache after this, she whined, as she was not only maintaining a sizable magic barrier, but also firing magic beams at the rampaging beetles. She eventually stopped and fell to her knees, panting. The barrier started to destabilize. "Twilight!" Spike cried out, running to her side. "Spike can't magic," she groaned. Spike turned to the swarms and glared. "You stupid bugs! Don't hurt my friends!" He yelled as he inhaled, then blew out a sizable emerald flame. It didn't reach far, but the nearest swarms were incinerated. "Dragonfire?" The exhausted alicorn wheezed. Just then Lyra and Bonbon came running over, Lyra producing a small drinking bottle from a pouch and opening it. "Twilight, drink this. It's a special energy potion for unicorns. It should help." Twilight nodded as she downed the elixir. A few moments later, her fatigue was mostly gone. "Wow! Where'd you get this?" she asked, and Lyra was about to tell her, but Bonbon cut her off. "Sorry, that's classified information," she responded. "The report is going to be a pain to write this time. Thanks so much, Lyra." But Twilight immediately turned her attention to her dragon assistant. "Spike, how long do you think you can hold a single flame?" she asked. I'm not sure, but I think I can hold it at least 30 seconds or so," he asked, slightly worried. Twilight then levitated Spike onto her back. "Hey, what gives?" the startled dragon complained. "All right, Spike, I'm going to need you to blow as much fire as you possibly can when I give you the signal, okay?" Twilight explained. "Oh, I get it," Spike replied and took a deep breath as Twilight surrounded him with her magic. "Now!" Spike shot out an immense stream of flames that seemed to seek out and incinerate all of the insects, and only the insects. Then the two fell over, panting intensely. "Twilight, what was that?" Spike wheezed. "I mixed my magic with your flame to hone in on those things. That was rough," she replied exhaustedly. But all of that was cut off by Pinkie Pie running past them into the castle, then a few moments later running out again, clutching a familiar watch. "Twilight, help! Tommy needs this watch to help save Fluttershy, but—" she started before her mouth was covered by an annoyed Bonbon. "Let's talk at a speed that normal ponies can understand," she suggested. Pinkie stepped back, took a deep breath, and tried again. "Tommy says he needs one of the watches to save Fluttershy. He left it here." Twilight thought for a minute and remembered. "The Kiva watch. I think that's what he called it." "Then I'll go get it." Pinkie ran into the castle. "Pinkie, wait! You don't know where it—" she started, but then Pinkie ran right back out, clutching it. Twilight finished. "Okay, now I gotta get this to him," Pinkie stated and was just about to run off. "Hold it! Even if you run, that's still all the way across town," Lyra chimed in. Pinkie stopped and started trying to think of a solution. "Wait a minute, that's it!" she proclaimed as she ran back into the castle and came out clutching one of the many rolls of special parchment Twilight used to send Dragonfire letters. "We can use this! If we wrap the watch in this and have Spike burn it, maybe it'll send the watch too." Twilight sighed. "Fine, let's try it." Pinkie was confused. "Wow, and I thought you'd be a bit more stubborn about it." "Too exhausted. Don't care." She zapped the parchment, and then Pinkie wrapped the watch up in it. "Spike, do your thing," Pinkie commanded as she threw the watch up, Spike blasting it with his flame before falling over. "I really hope that worked," the pink pony wondered, as she, Bonbon, and Lyra lifted the exhausted dragon and alicorn and took them inside the castle. "Tommy, you can do it." Meanwhile, the beetle beast was busy trying its best to break Zeo in half, with Zeo barely being able to block its blows. "Can't take much more," Zeo grunted as he kept trying to block the beast's punches and kicks with his sword, but eventually the monster knocked him down with a roundhouse kick. "Is this it? Am I gonna die here?" Zeo thought. As he started to stand back up, something fell on his head. Huh? It was the Kiva watch. How did... Zeo wondered, but shook his head and reached for the watch. However, the platform that both Zeo and the monster were on started to crumble, and the watch, rider, and monster all started to fall. "Come on, reach it," he grunted as he reached out for the watch in freefall. He managed to grasp it, but the two entities reached the floor with a hard crash. The monster growled as it assumed its opponent was dead.
"Armor time!"
The voice of the space-time driver echoed.
"Chomp! Kiva!"
The belt sang as the debris around Zio exploded. Standing there was Zio, but his shoulder pads now resembled two halves of a bat-esque creature. His chest had a red and black pattern on it. His helmet had protrusions around its eyes resembling bat wings, as well as yellow characters. His right leg also had mysterious chains around it. The monster snarled and began to wind itself up to charge, but Zio waved a hand, and a series of bat-like energy projections flew out everywhere, gathering close to the ground. The monster charged, but the bats caused it to trip and damaged its legs immensely. Zio turned again and threw some more bats, a few of them landing onto the front of the monster's face. "Can't see and can't run. Your speed doesn't mean a thing now," he proclaimed as he pressed the buttons on his belt.
Finish time! Kiva!
The area grew dark as a miniature moon appeared above the two of them. The chains around Zio's leg broke to reveal a strange pair of bat wings attached. Zio dashed forward and kicked with his leg, knocking the monster into the moon projection, where it exploded, leaving a mark resembling a bat as the watch and the corrupted Pegasus came back down to Earth. Fluttershy was passed out. The watch was still sparking with the red and silver energy bolts. Zio detached his main watch from his driver and pointed it at the Kabuto watch. A beam of light shot out of it, and all of the strange energy sparking from it ceased. "I did it," he said to himself. He then walked over to the fainted Pegasus and picked her up in a bridal carry. He also picked up the Kabuto watch and stored it in one of the free watch slots on his left arm. "I'll take you to safety," he said to the unconscious Fluttershy. She briefly opened her eyes to see that she was being carried by someone. While she couldn't make out the details, she did note that this being looked like a knight in silver armor. "But sis, why can't I go see the girls?" Applebloom complained. Ever since the incident with Pinky turning into a monster, she insisted that Applebloom not leave her sight for even a moment. "It ain't safe right now. Y'all need to stay here," she explained. But Applebloom wasn't having any of it. "Gosh darn it, sis! Ever since that fella in the big tin can fell, y'all have been acting more ornery than an angry timber wolf," she spoke back. "No," Applejack muttered, clenching her fists. "Huh?" the younger Apple questioned, but Applejack turned to her with a terrifying stare. "Y'all don't bring that freak up!" she yelled. "Get lost!" Applebloom ran away crying as the older Apple's sister sighed, and then she felt the whack of a wooden cane on her head. "Ouch!" Applejack yelped. She looked up to see a very displeased Granny Smith. "What in the Sam Hill's wrong with you, girl?" the eldest Apple yelled. "Granny," she whimpered. If there was anyone on the planet that could instill fear into Applejack, it was her grandmother. "Bloom's right, you're acting like the plumb fool. That youngin' never hurt no one. Heck, if I hear correctly, he's been helping folks by stopping them monsters. And yet y'all have the gall to treat him like a pig slop." Granny Smith scolded sharply. AJ couldn't think of anything to say at that point. The elder Apple just sighed. "I know y'all want to do right by your mom and pa, I really do. But don't you forget there's 3 more apples trying to do right by them too." Granny sighed. "You think about this. Me and Mac will go round up Applebloom so you can tell her you're sorry." She walked off, using her cane to support herself. "I don't rightfully know what I should do anymore, Granny," Applejack murmured to herself, tipping her hat down. Applebloom was in an isolated part of the orchard, crying her eyes out. I was only wanting to see my friends. Why is sis acting so mean?" she sobbed. As she looked down, she saw an unfamiliar vine. "Huh?" Her tears dried up a bit as her sadness gave way to the unusual plant. "I've never seen a vine like this one." She looked along the vine and saw many other odd plants growing, and at the far end of them looked like a giant open zipper with another forest inside it.